Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. And it's going to be a beautiful sunny day in St. Louis, Missouri today. Hope it's wonderful wherever you are in the world. And today's topic is going to be something I picked up off a Facebook thread. Why is it that so many PUAs are not successful in long-term relationships? PUAs, pickup artists. And I'm going to tell you what I think about that. I tell you what I think about that is this. When you use techniques or just when you are a pickup guy or when you just like to pick up girls, for one thing, you have no experience in long-term relationships. Another thing is the techniques that you use just to pick up girls and to have sex with them are much different from what it takes to have a long-term relationship. I've done both. Now, my long-term relationships didn't last forever. The longest one I had was 12 years. But I've had several. I had one for 5 years when I was young, from 17 to 21. And I was married for 3 or 4 years the first time. But I was running around with my wife because I couldn't stop the pickup game. It's like when that gets into your blood, it's really hard to stop that. And I don't really know if you need to stop it. A woman just doesn't really care as long as you don't rub it in her face. I'll say most women. Now, they're all going to tell you that they don't want a man that runs around. But I've seen it countless times in my life, and I've experienced it, that a woman would rather share an alpha than be stuck with a beta. And let me tell you what my experience of that is. Okay, from the time of 15 years old to, I would say about 29 or 30, I had no trouble getting women. Always had women. The only time I couldn't get a woman was if I was going out and looking for a woman. We used to call it hunting. If you're out there looking for women, sometimes it's hard to find them. I mean, you can do cold approach and go through 50 and pick up one. But you have to have a purpose in your life. When my life was on purpose, when my younger years was riding my Harley Davidson and partying, that was my purpose. I wanted to be like the guys on Easy Rider. I had women chasing me down. I had the older girls when I was 18, 21, 22 years old, the most popular girls. And then as I got into my 20s, I started boxing, and that was my purpose, my mission. I had girls chasing me then. I had girls leave notes on my car and tell me how good looking they thought I was. I didn't have to chase girls. Now, there were brief times during them when I would go to a dance. We had dances here, and we would go there and say, we're going to get some women tonight. And when we went there with the purpose of getting women, we didn't have near as much, I'll call it luck, well, let's say success, as they did if we just went there to have a good time. So that's something to keep in mind. But back to the topic. The things that I used back then, I wasn't being fake, but it's like, and I've been called a player all my life, even when I wasn't trying to be a player. It's a different mindset, a different approach, you're kind of fun, and I really don't, it's hard to explain, but it's a different mindset. And they pick up on that, and a lot of girls just want to be with a guy to have fun. They know that he's not good for a long-term relationship, but yet they know that he's exciting, usually exciting in bed, he's exciting to be with, he's fun to be with. He creates a certain amount of sexual tension within them. But when they're looking for a long-term partner, they usually don't want these type of men. So that's another part of it. And what I found when I would end up having a long-term relationship with one of these girls, if I did not keep running around with other women, they were not near as attracted to me. A couple of them I tried to make my steady girl and started treating them with respect like a girlfriend. You know what they did? They went out and found another man who was more of the player type, who never would settle down with them, who was always running around with other women. Now, imagine that. Okay, so, but until I turned 30, that's the way I played it. Okay, even when I was married, I had the first time, I've been married 4 times. The first time, I had a steady girlfriend. I had my wife, a steady girlfriend, a somewhat steady girlfriend, plus I had other girls I was sleeping with. Now, they all knew it. I didn't rub it in their face. They all knew it, and they all would wait for me to come home. And they knew I was out running around. Okay, so think about that. Now, I had someone comment on something I commented on the other day, and it was a woman. I guess I got a pretty good emotional reaction out of her, but she was, how was she saying it? That I only picked girls who were broken and had psychological problems. They weren't educated. And I was thinking, well, she didn't know my first wife, because my first wife was the prom queen, straight A student. She worked. What else did she do? She was voted best looking, most popular, etc., etc. So, doesn't necessarily ring true. But she had me all figured out by one paragraph that I wrote on a comment where I was commenting on someone else's comment. Or no, on the post. But women think they have you all figured out, but they don't. Unless you open up to them, and I'll tell you what happens when you do that. That's something else that a player doesn't do. I call it a player. He doesn't open up to them. He doesn't share his true self with them. He doesn't make himself, as so many people like to call it now, vulnerable. I'm all in vulnerability, but not with a woman. She does not want you to be vulnerable in a way that you open your whole self up to her. She doesn't want that. And I guarantee you, if you do that, the clock is ticking down to the end. Vulnerability is great with your buddies. If you need to open up and share your heart, I believe everyone has to have some accountability. So you need at least one friend that you are accountable with, that he knows you through and through. You don't hide anything from him. I don't care what it is. You don't have anything that you're going to take to the grave with you that nobody knows. You tell this man. You need to be accountable to someone that can keep you straight, especially if your emotions are running high. Sometimes even men, and I've done it too, can get too pulled off by your emotions. And if you have an accountability partner, a mentor, then he can keep you on track when you're not sure whether the actions you're taking are beneficial to your future, to your mission, your purpose. Okay? I ran off and got married a couple times, and if I'd have been more accountable, I probably wouldn't have made that choice. But as I said, I've had long-term relationships, and it's a whole different ball game from picking up girls and being a player. It's a different mindset. Now, the best person I can tell you to listen to about that would be Ryan Stone. He's had a long-term relationship, and he gives some real good pointers on how to do that. I've had long-term relationships too, but in my case, I can tell you how to do it. I haven't had too good of success with it. I mean, there were some good times, but all of them with me ended up with a woman disrespecting me because I didn't maintain, I could say, the competition anxiety, or I became too compliant. I became the man that society tells you you need to be. I was the man who was going to work every day, home every night, a steady, dependable, reliable man. And you can do about anything to a woman you want to, but you can't bore her. And women become bored with that. Now, maybe if she's 40 or 50 or 60 years old, that's okay. But you get a woman in her 20s, that doesn't usually work too well. If you're too available, you're too compliant, you're too agreeable, you can do that with your friends or your business partner, but if you try to do that with your steady woman, she's going to get bored with you pretty dang quick. Because contrary to what a lot of them say, I don't want no drama in my life, no drama. You can about guarantee yourself that if you see that on a woman's dating site, that she's had a lot of drama in her life, and she's probably created most of it. So, women like drama. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I'll guarantee you, they love drama, they grew up with it, they create it. They have to have drama. Now, does that mean every woman or every girl has drama? No, but we'll say in general, the biggest majority of women, and that's what I'm talking about here. There are exceptions to every rule. Some men can be very dramatic, but mostly women are more emotional, and they like a little drama in their life. And I know some women will probably bash me for this, but I don't care. If they bash me, it's because I got their goat. And you can't get someone's goat if they don't have a goat to get. If it pisses you off what I'm saying, then you need to take a look at yourself, because there's something inside of you that you're not accepting about yourself that is reflecting back to you from me. That's the way life works. Just like the master said, pick the log out of your own eye before you try to pick the speck out of your brother's eye or your sister's eye. All right, I gotta go to work today. We gotta get this job done before the snow flies, and we're gonna do it. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Like and subscribe.